there's a period of time that we call midlife. And midlife can be seen as sort of the transition between age 30 and age 60. Now, what happens at age 30 and 60? You have what's called a Saturn return at both of those ages. So Saturn is the planet of structure. It's sort of representative of our 3D reality. And in your life, the first Saturn return at 30 sort of ushers in your initiation into adulthood. But it's based upon the foundation that you build as a result of, or with the influence of, societal pressures, right? Now, 60 is sort of like another sort of like culmination of structure in your life. And it should, if everything goes well, be sort of like a structure that allows you to embody the elder, sort of the archetype of the elder. So what comes in between is midlife. Now, midlife, there is the culmination of, or the convergence of a lot of different transits that upset the equilibrium of what we've built at age 30, to basically sort of ask you the question, is the adulthood that you built at age 30 based upon or founded upon authenticity, or is it too much based upon social approval? You see, what will happen is at Uranus opposition in your early 40s, you are going to face the destabilization of anything that is not authentic. You're going to feel like anything that is not really your authentic self is going to feel insufferable. And so there is a negotiation that takes place in midlife in which there is a need to, if you have not built your foundations upon authenticity, to actually make the changes so that you can step more into your authentic self, your sovereign self, and this is what Carl Jung talks about, that midlife really, life starts at midlife. Everything up till then is just gathering information, right? The real game starts at midlife, because it's like all the pins are set up. Now you're looking back and you're asking, are they all set up? Is this house that I've built set on a foundation of truth, authenticity, who I am supposed to be, rather than what I was told to be or what I am expected to be? And so there's going to be all kinds of transits that take place in midlife that will try to realign you to your life purpose. You're gonna go through your a very important, what's called a nodal return, which is kind of like you stop and you're going to take stock as to whether or not you're moving in the direction of your life purpose. You're going to face something called the Neptune square. The Neptune square is kind of like a crisis in faith, and it sort of begs the question, is what I have built based upon a foundation of the meaning that really kind of like is not necessarily just inherited, but something that I can test and I can say is affirmed through my experiences. So the whole thing is, what I'm saying here is that adulthood at 30 years old, right? Eldership at 60 years old. You cannot step into the elder phase if you basically fail the midlife transition, the liminal phase in between, where you are asked and called upon to inhabit more of your authentic self. What happens is, if you stay too firmly attached to the Saturnian structure that you built at age 30, then you end up having a structure that's built upon social approval. And when you step into eldership or old age at age 60, that basically will sort of beg the question, is the foundation built upon my authenticity? If not, then I'm just entering old age. If I have given into my authenticity and built my life upon the meaning that rings true for me, then I step into eldership. And there is a big difference. You see, eldership is where you inhabit the archetype of wisdom. Old age is where you feel like disenchanted. You feel like life has failed you. You feel like miserable. You're just basically complaining about aches and pains in your body, and there's no meaning that you can feel like you can pass on to the next generation. And that's the big deal, is what can you pass on to the next generation? Do you have the wisdom that is built upon taking risks and chances throughout your life, in order to step into who you're supposed to be, your life purpose, your authenticity, right? Or have you really stuck to that, stubbornly really just held on to that structure that was built in your early years, which sort of like took form at 30, that maybe you had social approval, maybe you had the great job, everything on paper looks wonderful, and therefore you feel like, how could I upset this? This is what everybody aspires to this. But the question is it what is true in your heart for you? So the whole thing that I want to sort of like convey in this video is this. If you're in midlife, you're going to be facing a lot of destabilization. That destabilization is trying to orient you towards more authenticity. If you fail to heed the call to adventure in that sense, as the hero's journey template sort of implies, then you will, at age 60 or towards your 60s, whether or not you actually step into elderhood and wisdom or old age and regret, hinges upon what's happening for you right now.